What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Carl. I'm the Consumer Review Lad, and I just consumed Survivor Season 41, Episode 4, and I'm going to review it on this podcast. We start off at the Green Camp. It is nighttime right after last week's Tribal. Of course, last week we saw Brad and Jeannie get blindsided, but Brad was the one who went home with 2 advantages in his pocket, and the guy could not even vote. And we see Jeannie is still upset, but she compliments the move, but she is blindsided. She is upset because she was feeding the tribe, and I guess she felt close to the tribe, and she's been feeding them and doing all the work. And she said, pretty much from now on, everyone's going to take care of themselves because she's only taking care of herself. Shan tells Jeannie about how Brad had still a vote advantage and how Shan was his number 1 because he didn't tell Jeannie about that advantage, but he did tell Shan. And now JD is annoyed because Shan made him feel terrible from withholding his advantage information from her, but she was withholding information from him. And Shan tells JD, well, it was Brad's advantage, and he told her in confidence. And JD's just really upset about this, and he wants his advantage back because remember, he gave Shan his advantage, I guess, as a sign of trust, and Shan does give that advantage back to JD. We have our first reward challenge of this season. This challenge involves throwing a ball onto like a little ramp, then running through an obstacle course and catching it, going under a beam once you catch it, and then throwing it on top of this structure, and then once it stays on the structure, pretty much you advance. And then the next tribe, or you pretty much win at that point. Winning tribe gets to have a Fiji expert teach them how to live off the island. The second place just gets a fish. Third place gets nothing. Jeff says whoever sits out this challenge will have to play in the immunity challenge. So Nasir and Erica sit out for the blue tribe. So this is the first challenge, besides the start of the game when they start off with that challenge, this is the first challenge that Heather is playing in. Yellow tribe is the first one to advance the first stage. Green is next, but blue is last, and Heather is really struggling to make it past the first stage. Yellow advances past the second stage. Green is right behind him. Then green goes on to win by a decent margin. If the Survivor edit is accurate, they won by a decent margin. And then yellow finished second, and Heather could not make it past the first stage in this challenge. And since green won, you have to wonder how Jeannie feels about telling everyone to fend for themselves, because now they're having an expert come on the island to teach them how to live off the island. After the challenge is over, Heather falls on the ground. She's crying. She's apologizing. The blue tribe, they give her a pep talk. They say, it's okay. It's just a reward challenge. Jeff makes a moment out of it after the challenge, talking about it. She says she let herself down. Jeff asks Danny a question about letting yourself down. Danny says the only way to let yourself down is if you don't give 100% effort, and she gave 100% effort. Jeff listed moments like this as a reason he still hosts Survivor after 21 years. After the challenge, we go to the yellow camp, and it's basically about celebrating eating the fish. They talk about how there's a Survivor edit of them failing all the challenges and then winning the challenges, and then they watch baby turtles crawl to the ocean, and they compare their tribe to the baby turtles crawling to the ocean. We go to the green camp. Nathan, the Fiji expert, is climbing up a palm tree. He's getting fruit off the palm tree. He's smashing coconuts with his bare hands. He's teaching them how to get fish, and he cooks several fish for them. Ricard does point out here that how after meeting Nathan, they probably don't need Jeannie anymore to take care of them. We go to the blue camp where Erica and Deshawn are on a boat in the ocean. They're just talking, getting to know one another. And then we have an Erica confession. And to use a term in pro wrestling, Erica cuts a promo of herself putting herself over about how she's ready to play Survivor. We see Sydney struggling to make fire, which again is probably a good thing for these newer seasons. If you can make fire, just struggle. Make it look like it's hard, because making fire is kind of probably make you a threat to get voted out later as you go on in the season. She's really mad and upset though that she can't make fire. Erica walks with Deshawn and kind of uses about how Sydney got upset and tries to use that into talking Deshawn into targeting Sydney and taking her out of the game. Deshawn doesn't trust Erica, and I don't think he likes Erica scheming and gaming, going after Sydney like that. He trusts Sydney a lot more. So, of course, he He tells Sydney what Erica said. And I don't know what it is about this season, but the people, they try to scheme in game, and immediately, especially on the Blue Tribe, immediately they get ratted out. So now we have Sydney, Deshawn, and Danny, and they're talking about targeting Erica. And they are going so far to target Erica that they're willing to throw the next immunity challenge to get her out. All because she was playing Survivor. Again, this is the same tribe that hated Naseer episode 1 because he told them that Deshawn and Danny were looking for idols, and Sydney told them about that. So maybe Deshawn telling Sydney's just kind of like, hey, you told me something, I'm telling you something. But this is another example of, again, they're playing Survivor. Someone's trying to play Survivor, and they get ratted out to the person they're targeting, and then they immediately become the target. So we see the same thing here. Erica is now the target on the Blue Tribe. Not Naseer anymore. Now it's Erica. Because episode 1, it was Naseer. Episode 2, I don't know if there was a target episode 2 on the Blue Tribe. Episode 3 was Naseer again, because he was talking to Sydney about getting Deshawn and Danny out. Actually, it was more about getting Danny out. But of course, they weren't to target him again. And now it's Erica, because she talked to Deshawn about getting Sydney out. Of course, they're talking about throwing a challenge, and Danny, the professional NFL player, he doesn't want to lose on purpose, but really throwing a challenge to advance your Survivor game isn't really a loss. It's probably a good strategy, so I wouldn't consider throwing a challenge to get someone you don't like out or get someone you want voted off. I don't really consider that a total loss in the grand scheme of Survivor. Next up, we have the Immunity Challenge. Contestants are going to race through water collecting 3 bags of logs. They're going to push logs through this tunnel. They're going to get a key out of one of the log, use that key to unlock 3 rings, toss 3 rings to this 3 rings stick, something with like you have to toss it onto this handle on it looks like I guess you could say it looks like a clothing line with sticks sticking out. Point of the story is you have to toss 3 rings on this structure. They have to stick and they have to stay on the structure. First 2 tribes gets immunity. We have no immunity line from Xander this episode, so we don't see him saying that line. Maybe he's holding off to see if the Blue Tribe found it, or maybe he said it and didn't make the edit. I don't know. Or maybe he saw Brad got voted out and he just didn't know what to do. Heather and Sydney sit out for the Blue Tribe. And really, if your game plan is to throw a challenge, maybe try to talk Heather into sitting out this challenge. But they're the ones who sat out this Blue Tribe, or they're the ones to sit out from the Blue Tribe, I should say. The green gets an early lead in the challenge, followed by blue, then yellow on the first bag. Blue takes the lead on the second bag, and then green gets second, and then yellow is lagging behind a bit, but they eventually get the second bag. Blue gets the third bag first, then green. Danny said they were trying to throw it, so this is the point where actually the viewers are seeing, oh, they're actually trying to throw this challenge. And I guess they're just so good at it, they're trying to throw it, they're still leading. Yellow gets the third bag. At the untying the knot stage, Deshawn is trying to throw it still, and he's untying knots and then tying them back. But the other 2 tribes are just too slow, and the Blue Tribe still ends up being the first tribe to untie all their knots. Green is second, followed by yellow. Danny and Naseer are pushing the logs through the tunnel. Naseer is working hard, and they are the first to complete that, so blue is still leading. And then Erica quickly finds the key for the log. Green finishes the log stage, then yellow. Blue starts tossing. Deshawn is tossing for the Blue Tribe, and he's doing a terrible job on purpose because he's trying to throw it. Yellow finds their key, then green find their key, and they start throwing. Yellow hits one first, then green hits one. Yellow hits 2. Naseer takes over for the Blue Tribe, and he hits 1. Then he hits 2 for the Blue Tribe. Yellow hits 3 and wins. Green hits 2. JD threw 1, and he said money, but missed. Naseer threw 1 and hit and got the win, and the Blue Tribe got second. 2 tribe mates trying to throw this challenge, and they ended up not being able to throw the challenge. Deshawn was saying in a confessional how Naseer is a good guy, so he's talking about how this is a great moment for him. Even though they wanted to throw it, him really pushing the Blue Tribe winning was a good moment for him. And I think it's funny how he's a good guy now. Last episode he's a bad guy, we want him out. Episode 2, he's a great guy, we want to keep him. Episode 1, we want him out. So they flip-flop every episode, either they like Naseer or they hate Naseer. This episode, they like Naseer. The Green Tribe, Shane was making some comments about how JD said money when he was throwing it, and maybe not just doing the challenge like normal, and they ended up blowing the challenge and having to go to tribal council. We go to the green camp before tribal council. Jeannie and JD are talking about how Shannon and Ricard are together, working together. Jeannie said she's rolling her dice tonight and tells JD to write down Ricard's name. That way, if she ends up being safe, Ricard will go home and not JD. JD is trying to convince Jeannie not to roll her dice since he wants her out. That's not what he tells her. He says she's safe, you don't need to roll her dice. But really, he wants her out, so he's trying to convince her not to roll her dice so they can vote her out. JD tells Ricard that Jeannie is targeting him. Shan tells Jeannie that she can trust Ricard more than JD and to write JD and not to play her dice, not to roll her dice. They're going to try to get JD out. Shan starts a plan to act paranoid that JD is targeting her and telling JD to try and have him give her his advantage again. And if he doesn't want to give it to her, to at least leave it at the camp as a sign of trust. JD says no. He finally he says no, he's going to take it with him in case he needs it. He's not going to give it to her again. But then he changes his mind and ends up giving it to her as a sign of trust. And Shan is impressed that she got JD to do that once again. She talks about possibly voting him out and maybe keeping it, something she could have done last week. I'm not sure why JD doesn't realize that he's probably below Ricard and Shady's alliance structure. And if Jeannie goes home and there's only 3 left, he's next on the chopping block. But since he has still a vote advantage, I guess it makes sense that, well, he's next on the chopping block, but if he plays a still a vote, he'll have the 2-1 advantage and can vote out whoever he wants, which probably would help him if he didn't actually show off that advantage. Anyways, so we're going to go to tribal council now, and there is talk about how hard it is to vote out a tribe member, how easy it looks on TV. Jeannie thinks the votes will be 3-1. She's going to go home, and the tribe is just trying to appease her. They just don't want her rolling her dice tonight. They're just trying to appease her. JD is working to get JD not to roll her dice and to stick with the plan, basically. JD talks about how he hasn't been playing Survivor like he thought he would. Jeannie said if she gets voted out, the votes come back 3-1. She gets voted out, she's going to still miss her tribe mates. Even if she gets voted out 3-1, she's going to miss her tribe mates. They go to vote, and the votes come back 3-1. JD got voted out without his advantage after he gave it to Shan. He got blindsided. He was a terrible player this season. He really was. And when he got blindsided, he kind of asked, is there any reason why? And they didn't really give him an answer, and he just left. But he was an absolute terrible player. It was so disappointing because he was actually my male winner pick on the Green Tribe based off his preseason interview. And this season, through 4 episodes, it's half of them, he got GOAT of the Week. And GOAT of the Week is pretty much worst player of the week. And really, if he did not get voted out tonight, he was probably going to be GOAT of the Week tonight. He's just a terrible player this season on Survivor. And, if Jeannie did use her shot in the dark, roll the dice, JD still goes home on a 2-1 vote, but maybe she wouldn't be able to use it again. I'm guessing maybe the shot in the dark, you can maybe only use it once, or maybe once before merge, once after merge. I'm not sure the rules on this. I know a lot of people complaining online, they're not really familiar with the rules and the advantages. But overall, that was this episode. JD got sent packing. Shan could have done it last week. She did it this week. It was a smart move because realistically, if you vote out Jeannie, and JD stays there, he has still a vote advantage. You go to tribal again, it's whoever JD picks. It's whoever he picks. He's the one that controls that vote. Overall, this season has been kind of boring. Smaller tribal councils tend not to be as fun as the bigger tribal councils. When you have more people, it can be more chaotic. You get the live tribal, you get people playing different advantages, going off different alliances. When you have just 3 or 4 or 5 people, it's really not that entertaining. And also just anytime a Survivor, I feel like, starts to play this game, starts to maybe build an alliance, starts to target someone, they just get ratted out. They get ratted out to the person they're targeting, and they become the target. It happened to Sierra on the Blue Tribe. It happened to Erica. I think it may have even happened to some people on the other tribe in the earlier episodes. I'm not sure what it is this season. I'm not sure if it's just the edit showcasing that more than previous seasons or what. But as a fan, as a viewer at home, it's just really disappointing to see people start to try to play the game and then get targeted because they're playing the game. And also the advantages this season. You get an advantage and then you cost you give away your chance to vote. It's just making this season pretty bad in my opinion. This season's been really bad. We'll see where it goes from here. It has a chance to turn around. No sign of the merge yet on the next week on Survivor. I don't see any sign of a merge. So we're going to probably have these more smaller tribal councils, and we'll just see. We'll just have to see where it goes from here. So let's get into the GOAT of the Week and the Beau of the Week. So GOAT of the Week, which is pretty much the worst player of the week, is Heather. Not a lot of options this week since JD got voted out. It was really Heather or possibly Erica, but I don't really want to, or Jeannie. I can't really give it to Jeannie. She didn't really do anything bad. And plus she survived the week. I don't know how you're going to be GOAT of the Week if you're surviving the week when you seem to be the main target. And on Erica's side, she's just playing the game. I can't really punish people for just playing the game and having it turn around and just, people targeting him over that. You can maybe give them a go of the week for playing the game badly, but I just don't think Erica did something that's like, oh, this is bad, real bad. She's the go of the week. But Heather, and I hate to give this to Heather because of this, but Heather just did so bad at that first challenge. It just showcases she's not going to be anywhere near decent at challenges. And if she makes it to the end of the game, one of the reasons is maybe because of her social game, but one of the main reasons is she's not going to win challenges. She's not a threat to win these challenges, and she probably won't be a threat to win the challenges come merge time. So she quite literally is looking like a GOAT right now. Someone that if she can't get the great social game going, you're going to bring her to the end just because no one's going to vote for her. They're not going to think she deserves to be a survivor and deserves $1 million. So she is the GOAT of the week this week. The first time Heather's been GOAT of the week. The past 3 episodes, we've had JD get it twice. And then we had, I believe, Xander got it once. Actually, excuse me, not Xander. Tiffany got it one time just based off being bad at challenges also. So we have Tiffany, Heather, and JD twice. Now we're going to go to BOAT of the week. Now, BOAT of the week is the best player of the week. This is going to Shan for the second consecutive time, first time, 2-time BOAT of the week player. She got BOAT of the week because she's playing an awesome game. Getting JD to give her that advantage again and blindsiding him is such a big move for her Survivor resume. Such a huge move. That's a type of move that Survivor brings you back on because you made a move that big. Because you're doing something so villainous like that. You're being this villain. And she seems to be at the top of her tribe. No one's really going after her. No one's challenging her. No one's going, oh, Shan, we got to get her out. She's a threat. Right now, 3 people in her tribe. She's with Ricard. It's Jeannie versus Ricard. No one's targeting Shan. It's Jeannie versus Ricard. They're targeting each other. She's still at the top here. And she has an advantage that she pretty much took from someone and voted them out. She's playing a great game so far. First 2-time BOAT of the week. For the previous BOAT of the weeks, we've had Xander, episode 1 got BOAT of the week. And then BOAT of the week, episode 2 went to Evie. And 3 and 4 go to Shan. Anyways, I'd love to know what you guys think. Tweet me at consume_review, or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this podcast and you're on YouTube, please click a like. If you didn't, please subscribe. You might enjoy a future podcast. My name is Carl. I'm the Consumer Review Lad, and this has been the Consumer Review podcast for Survivor, Season 41, Episode 4. Peace out.